Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. You guys, I am so excited for this video. Like, seriously, you've got to stick around to the end. You have to hear the whole thing. This is just... yeah, there's so many stories to cover. Of course, we have the Netflix debacle, but we also have the deranking. Remember, we've been deranked? Well, actually, we haven't been. No. Then we have some new pictures of Harry and Meghan that have come out that have just got everybody going, what? There's all kinds of stuff going on. So stick with me. Let's just jump in with both feet and get there now, shall we? Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to touch on this Patreon thing again. As you can see, Jason Goodman, he's the gentleman that's suing Boozy for defamation and all this other stuff. Well, he put up a tweet saying that YouTube is doing something and a new strike has disabled his channel. So he's moved on over to Patreon. There you go. So that's exactly, if I get, a strike, another strike, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It would be the only way I could keep going. All right, moving on. All right, this came up and I just thought this was interesting. Okay, so right after the Queen became the Queen, she met up with the Duke of Windsor. He's the gentleman that abdicated. It took place right before the funeral of her father, George VI. And he showed up because he wanted to make sure that he was still going to get his stipend. He apparently had a deal going that he and, his wife would continue to get a £10,000 a year income, which is apparently equivalent to today's dollars of $300,000. And a week after the funeral, still not knowing what's going on, he apparently wrote to Wallace Simpson and said, quote, "It's hell to even be this much dependent on these ice-veined, well, you know what." Anyway, one of the first things Elizabeth did was cut his allowance out completely. There you go. And the Duke said, well, I can at least live off the money I made from my memoir that I put out the year before. Sound familiar? All right. Harry and Meghan are apparently facing Netflix pressure to break the quote-unquote Queen's Ring of Steel. They want a Netflix crew to film on a royal property while they're there. But we are aware that the Queen has tried to block any attempts by them to include the monarchy in their footage as part of their Netflix deal. But it's uncertain if the aides can block the cameras from filming at their home in Frogmore, which is apparently where they're going to be staying. So do I think that they'll be filming in Frogmore? Yes, I do, because they need original content and footage, and they're not going to be able to really film anywhere else with all the stuff that they've put into place to stop them. So yes, I think they're going to be filming there because Netflix is putting such pressure on them for exclusive quote-unquote royal footage. Now, I don't think they can film there without getting permission from Eugenie and her husband because they are the ones that are technically living there at this time. So they're saying that away from the public perception and presentation of unity, the heads of Netflix want exclusive footage and their dream is to have insights in the royal world that have never been seen before. And so, of course, what goes on at Frogmore Cottage is private interactions between families. So, of course, that would be the perfect place to tape. So what it's come down to is Harry and Meghan have been warned that they could face enormous pressure to reveal more royal secrets or else they're going to be quote-unquote frozen out of Hollywood. Personally, I think they've already been frozen out of Hollywood. They're done with, anybody in Hollywood. They're frozen out of Netflix is what it should say. Now, it's also being reported that the cuts that Netflix did is going to be done everywhere by every other studio because there's a recession. So while they may try to shop their projects around elsewhere, probably nobody else is going to touch them. So if they want to grab a huge audience and prove to Netflix that they're worth the investment, we all know what they have to do. Right now, the only production that's going through is The Heart of Invictus. That's the only one. Now, at the same time that all of this is going on, they're saying that Harry's quote-unquote surprising Jubilee decision offers a fascinating clue about his memoir. Now, believe it or not, what's being said here is that the fact that he was invited to the events may signify that Harry's book is not a tell-all, but it could focus on Harry's growth and experience since the death of his mother. Now, I got to be honest, after all the crap that Harry and Meghan have heaped on the royal family, I found that hard to believe. I think it's going to be a horrible book. All right, do you guys remember this? I showed you about how James Corden is coming out to talk about the play dates and he's gushing over Harry. Well, apparently James Corden has been told to stay in the USA after the things that he said. Deputy leader of the Reclaim Party, Martin Daubney, said, please stay in their corner in the USA. Thankfully yours, Britain. Now, he already announced he's quitting his U.S. TV show. He's going back to the U.K. to be with his family. Yeah, this was probably not a good time to pull this. People in Britain said, ahead of him returning to the U.K., not really reading the room, is he? Somebody else said, good, handy to have them all in one place. But people in the United States said, absolutely, get out of the United States, go back where you came from. All I can say about this entire mess is that when you have to have James Corden speak out on your behalf, things are not going well. All right, moving on. All right, this really caught my attention because basically what it says is they're trying to delete old traces of the failed Pearl Netflix flop. Tom Bauer revealed his book contained interviews with Meghan Markle victims. Harry is using the name Wales for his polo club. Why not Sussex? You know, with a vanity handicapped, Travelers is spending some money relaunching itself to satisfy the registration of the trademark, and they're dragging New Zealand into their skit. And the MWX Foundation filed a final report to wind up the company, and a Freedom of Information request is kept under wraps due to alleged privacy and harm concerns. Right. Alleged privacy and harm concerns? People want to know what happened to the money. People want to know where the money went. Why would that harm anybody to let us know what it happens? Yeah. This leads right into the Sentable thing that's going on. It's a charity that Harry is a patron of, and they claimed government furlough funding, right? So charities are businesses. But while it was not ideal to claim the funding to run a charity, because they're supposed to run on grants and donations, Harry is technically not formally tied to the charity, but he does receive expenses for those polo tournaments that are quote-unquote fundraisers, and uses the charity for PR, which is a cheap way to promote himself. Now, keep in mind that Travelist, when it comes to Travelist, Harry is the main shareholder and is the person of significant control. So he benefits directly from the company. Get it? And it's being reported that Travelist claimed furlough payments from the UK government job retention scheme, and they also applied for and took advantage of COVID-19 grants in the US and the UK. So the question is, does Travelist actually even have employees that could legitimately claim monies for when there's no actual office? The question is, did Travelist abuse government funds and has not been transparent about it? Because unlike Sentable, such actions would have to have been authorized by Harry in order to apply for government funds for a company that no one really understands why it even exists. Now, you guys should know that recently a Freedom of Information request was made to the Charity Commission about MWX and Travelist transferred, and the delayed response was made public. But nearly all questions have not been answered because there's a clause claiming privacy was used and the potential harm would come to an individual if they or the charity were to be named. Oh my goodness, what harm? So basically, it's saying that the questions were not answered because there's a fear it could damage the entities involved, and that no one wishes to be publicly associated with the Sussexes for fear it could harm their entity, their reputation, and will deter other donors. Interesting. You guys should definitely go back and read that article. All right, next up, I told you guys that Omid Scobie was a pot-stirring troublemaker, and this is exactly my point. So there's Prince William shaking the hands of all the players at the soccer match or football, whatever you call it. And the Liverpool fans booed during the national anthem. And of course, Omid claimed that they were booing William, right? This is what he's claiming in his tweet, as you can see above. Thank you to Fifi the Cambridges for pointing out that somebody who was actually in the choir set the record straight, that they were warned ahead that the Liverpool fans would boo the national anthem. It has nothing to do with William. Here's her post where she said that she and her mother were in the choir that sang the pitch yesterday, and they were warned on Friday that Liverpool fans might boo during the national anthem, and they shouldn't take it personally. This apparently has been going on for years and has nothing to do with Prince William. And I think Omid knew that, and this is exactly my point about him being a pot-stirring troublemaker. I mean, there's articles being put up all the time about how the Liverpool fans always boo the English national anthem. This is nothing new. All right, there's one more thing I want to say. Have you guys ever noticed that when they put up these pictures of Harry and Meghan, of course they're in the public, of course they're always holding hands and smiling at each other and touching each other's backs and trying to make you think that their relationship is so perfect and they never have fights and they never have problems. But ladies and gentlemen, let's be real for just a second, shall we? You and I both know that they've had fights. We've seen pictures like this. We know that there are times when they are not getting along, but they try to cover it up for the public. Well, these two pictures just came out. Here's my thought process. They're having a fight. She's telling him what she thinks. Look at Harry's face. Now look at Harry's face. She's like, I'm done with this. And she's walking off. No, things are not well in paradise. We all know that behind closed doors, things are definitely different. And this doesn't surprise me because nobody can keep up that kind of facade for that long. It's just really not possible, to constantly be smiling and dewy-eyed. You know what I mean? Yeah. How sad is it that they're at polo and once again no children? Oh my goodness. Look at Harry's face in this one. She's smiling and look at his face. Okay, let me take it closer up. He literally always looks so miserable, so sad. All right, here's the last bit of information that I want to get to you guys. In case you don't recognize this young lady above, that is Ellie Hall. She's a BuzzFeed news reporter. She's the one who wanted to go back to being a royal reporter, and they said no. And she's been anti-royal, anti-monarchy. She's written some very slanted pieces, and she's the one that's responsible for what happened to Yankee Wally. She's the one with the infamous Wally interview that we've all talked about. Anyway, you'll love this. So Ellie did an article called YouTube Deranked Anti-Meghan Markle Channels from Search Results and Recommendations, okay? She did this whole thing and she said, I spoke with YouTube, and what YouTube said was the following. And I'm quoting YouTube here. They said, for news and certain topics, we've trained our systems over the years to elevate content from authoritative sources in search results and recommendations. Millions of search queries get this treatment today, including queries related to Meghan Markle. As with all queries, search results on YouTube are algorithmically ranked and constantly changing as new content is uploaded. She quoted Boozy and his figures about the anti-Meghan Markle accounts. Now remember, he's the one who gave us that name. Just because he says it doesn't make it so. But here's the part that you guys are going to love. Most of us noticed that there was no change in our accounts on YouTube. We weren't getting any less hits. I'm picking up people quicker than I ever did before. And we're like, how is this possible? So a fellow YouTuber who I will not identify, if she wants to step forward, she can. She contacted YouTube's legal department to ask about the deranking. And here's what they had to say. This person spoke to YouTube. They actually sent the article to the legal department, and YouTube confirmed that it was all untrue. They said that YouTube's success is based on the creators. They want successful YouTube channels to grow because it increases revenue for all of us as well as for them. They have had no legal notifications to derank anyone, and why would they? So they said that we make them money, So they're not going to hide or damage us. So essentially, the information in the article is incorrect. Ellie Hole took the information and spun it the way she wanted to spin it, which of course caused Boozy to literally blow a gasket and go, look, you guys, we've deranked them. We've hit them where it hurt. But come to find out, that is actually not true. Figures. So, lots of information in this video. Oh my goodness, I need your comments. This is just too good, too delicious, as I like to say. So don't forget to leave those comments because I got a feeling they're gonna be good. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to make sure that you're subscribed. And if you've already hit the subscribe button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Because for some reason, that weird thing keeps happening to people because they're sending me emails. I don't know how to fix it, y'all. I just don't. I'm so sorry. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Getter. You can follow me on Rumble. You can email me. You guys should know that Muro went home and we are going to go and buy some toys soon. Also, Muro's mom and dad agreed to replace some of the toys that Muro destroyed. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, as always, have a fabulous day.